Welcome to Love Where You Live, a DeLilly Home podcast. We are here to talk about all the high points of High Point. And joining me today is
Allison Kelly.
And I am Mary Powell DeLilly. And what do we have to talk about today, Allison?
Oh, well, we've been on kind of a guest marathon.
We have.
We're back to
It's been awesome.
Just us girls on here.
I know. Girl talk. We have had quite a few people, and we've got a lot lined up too.
Yeah, we do.
So it's been fun.
But today is the first official day of the High Point Spring Furniture Market.
It is. And I swear it seems like yesterday we were just talking about fall market.
Yeah,
So
I know. Time flies.
it does.
It also seems to be coinciding, which it always does, spring furniture market with spring real estate market popping off.
Oh, absolutely. Have you been seeing hot sheets? So for those of y'all not in the real estate world, through our MLS, we can set up hot sheets so we can set up different areas, locations. I have one for all of High Point, Emerywood, Davidson County.
I do mine by zip codes and then narrow it down that way too. But yeah.
And it shows you what's new in the market that day. And it has been Emerywood is
getting lots of emails. Yeah, some cuties in like the under 500 range.
Yes, they have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm liking the prices. They're more affordable homes coming up.
They are. I have a listing at Own Autorey coming up. It's going to be over the 500.
Yes.
But it's a great.
It's a cool.
It's a great one level with a finished basement. So depending on your lifestyle and what you want. But tis the season.
And I saw a pretty cool listing that popped up. It was all over social media yesterday.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The drawers.
The chest of drawers. Yes, let's talk about that. I know Mark's like, ugh, it's a $175,000 listing, which is not normal for commercial.
Yeah.
Way low. I think they've got it taken care of though.
Dang, that was fast.
Yes.
I'm not surprised. Again, talk about the perfect launch time.
Oh my gosh.
Would you like to buy the world famous chest of drawers in High Point on the first day of furniture market?
I know. You may know this, you may not. But that is not the actual original chest of drawers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, it's not. So the first one, I should have probably looked up some facts before I start talking about it. I want to say it was probably like in the 50s or 60s when they did this. So it was a 2 or 3 drawer bureau, more just, and it had like a mirror, but it wasn't really a mirror. It was more of a sign. It said High Point, the industrial city or something of that sort. Yeah. And it was actually in a different location. Again, did not do my research. I wasn't thinking about talking about it.
You on the spot with this, but it popped into my head,
Well, it's something kind of special.
Yeah.
So did they move it first and then, update it? I want to say maybe it was in the 90s when they redid the High Boy or whatever it is. I don't specifically remember, but it is not the original one. So, and not the original location.
It's still very, very cool.
It is. And it's such history. So, and a lot of people don't know too, is that obviously furniture, we're the furniture capital of the world. You have a piece of furniture, but the socks hanging out of the drawer, which was not in the original.
I did know that the socks were added.
Yes.
And that's for the hosiery?
That's right. Because we were the hosiery capital of the world at one point in time too. And we still have quite a few mills still around here. Harris Covington is one. You've got Amos. You've still got some hosiery mills around here. A lot of business.
The inside of that space, the chest of drawers, it's an office space, right? That's what?
Yeah, it's actually a brick building, and then they put the bureau in the front of it.
It's like a facade.
It is. It's a facade. Like you can't walk.
You're not going to be able to walk up. You stick your head out of the socks or anything.
Exactly. And I want to say it was home to the High Point JCs forever.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you remember the boat drags at O'Connell?
Wait, kind of.
They had boat drags. I mean, you could hear them. I mean, it was like drag racing with boats
on the
on O'Connell Lake. Yeah, and they made a ton of money. But I just remember their headquarters or their offices being there. So they were there for a while. I can't remember what else has been there since then. But yeah, Mark has had lots of calls from people wanting to do apartments, to Airbnbs, to retail space, to market space, to, all sorts of ideas. But I do believe that it will end up in the right hands, and they will honor and acknowledge the history, and,
Well, that's
keep
super
it
exciting.
keep it there. What else are you going to take pictures in front of?
Right?
When I do my tour of High Point, I always go by
Yeah, you're like, and here is the
chest of drawers. And many times when I have a younger person, I was like, "You want to get out and take a shot?" They're like, "Yeah, can we?" I'm like, "Sure."
Selfie. It's a perfect prop.
That's right.
It's a landmark.
It is a landmark.
Cool.
I know. So anyway, so that's that. That's on the commercial side of things.
So there's our quick commercial update.
That's right. That's all there is. Nothing else.
So now back to our world, which is a residential real estate world.
And let me reiterate.
We love where we live in residential land.
That's right. They are two different worlds. We stay in our lane. They stay in their lane. That's the only way to do it. I don't believe there's crossover. Again, I think the only way to be an expert in your field is to do it every day, all day long.
And as your only job.
And as your only job. No part-time job. Sorry, that's all I got to say about that.
Right,
but if you're going to work with
someone, get off the soapbox. There's a hand. I'm just kidding.
Well, it is. It's very frustrating.
I agree.
And
when you're on the other end.
Yes, when you're on the other end and you're working with someone which everyone has to start off brand new. But if you never have intentions to make it your full-time job, that is,
Well, so
I'm a part-time doctor. I'm a part-time lawyer.
Right.
I'm a part-time, salesperson. Like, no, it doesn't work that way.
A job is, and this is a career, and if you love it, you enjoy doing it. And so it just becomes kind of part of your life, I think, this type of job. But
you can't get away from it.
Speaking of, I will say sometimes when you talk with the seller and they're preparing their house, that can feel like a full-time job for a couple of weeks.
It is.
So depending on, your property. So like just talking with my clients sometimes, I'm like, getting this house ready is like a job. So you think
it is.
You need to be
big sigh. There's a lot of prep work that goes into. It's not just putting a sign in the front of the yard and signing paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually had a whole episode last time about buyers. So why don't we talk about sellers?
What a great segue into sellers.
I know. Well, and since all these listings,
it's time.
Let me tell you, Mom always used to say, homes sell 365 days a year.
That's true.
But spring is the perception. That's why you see so many come on the market at that time. It's the perception of most sellers that, now's the time to do it. And your house looks beautiful during the spring if you have good landscaping. Everything's blooming. It's beautiful. Curb appeal is so important. Like 90% important. Because if you can't get someone in that house, you're not going to get an offer.
You want people driving by and looking at it and thinking like, ooh, I want to see, I want to see that. I want to see it in real life.
It's got to pull you in.
From that very first picture.
Yes, it is. And curb appeal is just, cannot stress it enough how important it is to spend some extra money in the front. And
it's just a great time of year. It's time to, if you haven't had your house pressure wash, get all that grime.
Yes.
It's a good time to do that.
Yeah, just wash down the paint. I'm getting ready to do that at my house. We're talking about getting prepped. One day in the future, a month or 10 years from now, we'll be selling our house. But we're doing some things right now. And I always tell sellers, like, if you're not really ready to sell right now, do some of the updates or, heavy maintenance items. Do them now so you can enjoy it.
I also was talking to Tad Godwin, one of our mortgage lenders.
Yes.
Rents his house out for market. He was talking about it's kind of like prepping your house to sell because you have these guests coming to use your home. Yeah. And so really it's kind of a good thing. It kind of keeps you on top of it. So when it is time to sell, it doesn't feel like so much work because your list isn't like this big.
Yeah. No, Mark, I think I had a tip Tuesday about that a few weeks ago, is if you do rent your house from, oh my gosh, the deep cleaning, because, do it yourself, pay someone, whatever.
Yeah. Whichever
way you want to go, it's worth, I think, paying someone. You get them to come in before and then after. But the deep cleaning they do before, you do that twice a year, your house will consistently
it stays clean.
Be clean. and you get money for it.
Right.
So for renting your
There's
house.
huge incentive. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's good incentive for that. And a lot of people, I think we've talked about this before, but a lot of people wonder, like, what do you mean you rent your house out for market? There's a few places we've talked about. Augusta is another one. There's just not enough hotels and Airbnbs for
Our
the
small
influx.
town, like what? Quadruples and stuff.
Yeah, like 75,000 people.
Yeah.
So, and they stay not just in High Point, they Greensville, Kernersville, Jamestown, wherever, but there's just not enough room. So a lot of people take advantage and rent their houses out.
Yeah.
And it benefits, the market people love it. It's not like, oh man, we got to rent a house.
Well, because they're here for an extended amount of time, know, and they usually stay at the same house with the same people, and they kind of get to have a little.
You kind of have a family bond. Yeah. You really
it's
do.
It's almost like a foreign exchange student type.
Yes.
But you're not necessarily there while they're there.
Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it, kind of. Yeah. But anyway, back to sellers. So cleaning the house, getting it prepped and ready. And part of our job as listing agents is to be able to guide and help and give names. Like, this is what you need to do. You need to clean. You need to do this. Maybe paint that. And we can also point out things that an inspector is going to find. So let's address this up front. Because why are you going to try and hide it? And then it blows up when the buyer, right. Every buyer is going to have a home inspector come through.
And it can be little things. It's always the annoying little thing, like a shaky handrail.
You can recognize the big items too. Unfortunately, right. Well, fortunately, but unfortunately, you're going to have to put some money towards that, because people would much rather. I just had a seller asking that today. They're going to have a high ticket item. It's not a big deal, but it just needs to be addressed. And it's going to cost a pretty penny. And they're like, well, should we just do it before, or just disclose it and tell them and let them do it? I said, it's best to do it before, because if not, they're just going to look at your house and look at the estimate of how much it's to fix something like that, and just, reduce that off what you're offering. So, the point of disclosing, and I am very, very big on disclosing. Look, people, I'm getting back up in that soapbox.
Here, I'll give you
hand up. Why are you going to try and hide shit? Like, why?
It's going to get uncovered.
Yeah, it's going to get found. There are main two reasons why people or buyers will terminate their contract. One is if they can't get their financing.
Right.
Which usually that's something.
That's unfortunately kind of out of the seller's control.
It is. The second thing is inspections.
And that is totally in the seller's control.
That is. Now, you still can't help someone who freaks out over something dumb and terminates. Right. That's...
Can't fix stupid.
Can't fix stupid. Can't fix crazy. But...
just medicate crazy.
You do. But you can address these things, and that's the whole point of filling out that residential property disclosure, is you want to disclose everything you can, because when that buyer comes to make an offer, they're looking at that disclosure, they're looking at every piece of information that you're giving them and basing their purchase price off of that.
Right. It's even in the offer to purchase contract that I have read through this.
Yes, I've received the residential property disclosure. Now, back on to the buyer's agent. You need to let them know that, because don't come back after inspection and say...
You need to read it yourself.
Yes, that's part of your job. Do it. I got back on my soapbox again. But yes, you need to educate your buyer, and especially if it's an older house, like, look, don't freak out over, ungrounded outlets. And I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, I see this all the time. I see this all the time. I see this all... That's why I can easily pick it all out.
Yes.
And here's the person to fix it.
Yeah. Back to your full-time agent. That's why you need a full-time agent who knows what they're doing. But yeah, as a listing agent, that's why I'm like, look, make sure you've read these things. You're making an offer based upon what you see. Now, we don't have x-ray vision. We cannot see, within the walls. If we did, we'd be like awesome.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Really cool, I know. And we don't have crystal balls. So, but you can't always know everything, but as much as you can disclose up front to that buyer, letting them know what they're actually purchasing, it'll make the entire process, once you get it under contract, much less stressful.
Smoother, and it just gets you that quicker to the closing table.
Yeah, exactly. And working with another agent who is full-time agent, that makes a process a whole lot easier as well. But sellers, okay, so we've got prepping your home, which
Yep.
includes some home inspection.
We talked about home inspection, and we talked about the curb appeal. Also, it's a good time. We talked about spring cleaning, cleaning inside and outside, but decluttering. This is a good time
Oh
to
gosh.
declutter, get rid of things.
Mhm.
If you have children, school is going to be out in like 1 month.
Yeah.
So here's
Quickly
your
approaching.
sign to fill up your trunk as much as you can with all the crap that you don't want them to pull out every summer.
When they're gone to school, they come back. Where's my? I don't know where
It's
it
much
is.
easier to do it when they're not there.
And they'll never miss it. I remember when the kids were little. Like you would just,
As long as they don't, now
taking away everything.
Yeah, now more than once they would look in the trunk and be like, "Hey, what's that doing there?" And I'm like, "Guess we'll get it back out." But that's how
You learned that lesson.
So I learned, guys, we've got about 30 days to drop all the stuff.
That stuff off. Yeah, and in decluttering it just makes everything feel cleaner, fresher, just because people look. My house is cluttered.
Oh God,
I got things I got to pay. I could not put my house in the market right now because we live
I'm
in
honestly just going through all the things I need to do at my house.
Are you stressing out?
No, that's all coming up with topics of things
Oh,
we should do.
okay, perfect.
You need to pressure wash. We need to work on the landscape. I need to declutter.
Yeah, because it's when you put your house on the market, it's like a show house. It's supposed to be a house that's lived in, but doesn't look like it's lived in.
Right.
Nothing on the countertops. I mean, I always say like pretend Martha Stewart's whiz through here, and people just like seeing clean, simple. Not a lot of bright colors, not a lot of crazy things going on, which is sometimes we'll, say maybe you have to paint, depending. Yeah. Those are the things, I mean, it is like anything else in life. When you see something pretty, shiny, clean, and fresh, you're like, ooh, I want that.
Yeah.
And that's what we want for your house when we're listing it. We're trying to set you up for success. We're not trying to say that you have bad taste. We're not trying to say I don't like your style of furniture or rug or anything like that. We're trying to make it appeal to the masses, to the buyers coming in. It's all about the buyers, not about us, not about that, that's where you measured everyone's measurement with Sharpie and that, take a picture, remove the casing if you want. Right. It's all about the buyers and what they want, not what we think or what you personally think is best. So, and that's our knowledge because we know, because we've been doing it long enough,
and because we're working with buyers too. We're listening to them actively say, "This is what I'm looking for." So
well, and within our office too,
right?
We talk, so we know what's going on. Like someone may work with buyers more, someone may work with listings more, but we're always cross-referencing and talk about what's going on in the market with our monthly meetings, because you have to be updated on everything. The trends going on. Like right now, I was just talking to someone about due diligence amounts. They are not, I mean, never going to be as high as during COVID, but they are definitely going down. You're not getting as much due diligence than you did before, which is fine, but you got to know this stuff.
And it's knowing what to expect.
Exactly. And that's part of what we do too. Like, let's set expectations here, because we don't want you to think hold on, your house is worth so much. I was going to actually bring that up at the very end, and we can come back to it.
We'll circle back.
Yeah, we'll circle back. But set expectations so like timeline of when it should sell, pricing, what your due diligence, your earnest money, closing, times, whatever the trends are going on in the market. That's what we help to,
And then figure out how it works with your life. Like, this is okay, do you have dates that you're going to go on vacation or a big work deadline? I worked with a CPA over
April,
the fall and spring. And that was
March even.
Yeah, it was like, we got to get stuff done in January, February, ideally.
Or you've got to move out, or you can't move out until your house is ready. So there's a scheduling of when to put it on the market. There's also coming soon, which I'm a big fan of coming soon.
Me too. I almost always do it, unless I would say like 99% of the time. Unless
situation is, I've got to get this in the market like ASAP. Like, I don't want to wait, an extra 7 days. But that 7 days helps too with getting photography done if you're trying to do it quickly. But so, in case people don't know, coming soon is a period that house is put into the MLS
MLS.
as a coming soon, not active, but coming soon. So coming soon is a time where you can get things done if you need a quick, cleaners coming, not ready for someone to walk in the house yet, need photography still to be done, whatever. So you want to advertise it, but no one can set up appointments to see it. No one can walk through that house. Matter of fact, you cannot.
You cannot show it.
We get fined if you do.
In big trouble for that.
Yes. So I always tell my sellers, I'm like, I'm not paying for you to let someone in this house.
Yeah.
So, they're not allowed to have anyone in. So it's a max of 7 days. And it's like pre-advertising.
Yeah, it's almost like a soft opening, but
Yeah.
not.
I love that.
Yeah.
Except for people can't come through.
Right.
But yes.
But usually the pictures get listed during that time.
Yes.
Like people can see at least a picture of the front of the house. They can drive by if they want to check out the neighborhood, from the buyer's perspective. It's kind of like, I guess it is kind of like a soft opening. Like,
it is.
Like here it is, but you can't come in and make a reservation to see it yet.
Correct. You can't eat dinner yet. But no, so it gives them an idea, because I always tell every seller, buyers are like birds circling, and they're just waiting for the perfect house to drop that they think would be the one for them. So as soon as it gets put in as coming soon or active, either way, then they're like, ooh, I see this. So 7 days gives them also the extra edge. Most buyers search in Zillow, Realtor.com. They don't have access to MLS like we do. So once they see it, which can take a few days, sometimes even a week, then they're all over it. So it just is extra time to get the word out that this is coming on the market. And I love it.
First advertising opportunity.
Yes.
So that's why I'm like,
I don't know why people wouldn't do it. The only thing I could see that anyone would find a negative is those 7 days that no one's allowed to see the house, or max 7 days. It could be 1 or 2 days. It does count as days on market, but big deal. It's 7 days.
But you can see that it was coming soon.
Your agent
can see on MLS the whole history of the house.
Exactly.
It was put in coming soon for 5 days, and then it went active on this day.
So I'm a big fan of that. We're going to do that.
And you can still get an offer during coming soon. You can accept an offer and go under contract.
It's up to the seller, 100% up to them what they want to do, which would mean someone seeing it sight unseen or going by the pictures.
Right. Buying it based on just what they can see from the not physically going in the house.
Yeah. But the most, and this is what I'm circling back around, what is the most, I'm putting you on the spot again.
All right, hold on. Let me put my thinking cap on.
What is the most 110% important thing when you're listing your house? What is the one thing you've got to get right in the beginning?
The price.
The price.
Duh.
I know. But so many people, oh my gosh, so many people I hear all the time saying, I know, but we can't go up in price, but we can go down in price. I'm like, I understand that. And you can go up in price if you want. It won't make any sense, but why? Why have that mentality? Price it right to begin with. If you have an agent who knows what they're doing, you need to hit that sweet spot. They're going to know what the market, because again, it's not us deciding what your house is worth. It's the market.
Right. We're using the data that we have available and our experience and inside knowledge.
Sometimes there's reasons like, oh well, that one sold for X amount because of this situation, like they paid way too much for it. So
exactly, like
you've got to know that.
And that's being in the community and being involved.
Exactly.
Just kind of knowing what's going on.
Yeah, and comparables, or I really like to say other houses that have sold. Because, sometimes they're not 100% comparable. It's hard to match two houses. Like, they're both one level. They're both brick. They're both... It's very hard to do.
In that type of neighborhood. Where
yes.
They're all you've got five
similar.
floor plans, and it's either...
Yes.
This floor plan always sells for $200,000. This one sells for $300,000. That's different.
So lots of times you have to weight certain things like, okay, this location is better, or it has a finished second story instead of a finished basement, because finished basements don't pull as much per square foot. So that you've got to weigh. Again, part of our expertise is we help with that. We help you look at the numbers and explain why. But these buyers agents are looking at the same houses we are. If I'm working with a buyer and I'm like, well, they've got it listed for this amount, but every house, and I know the reasons why these houses are like 100, 200,000 below that, you're not going to make an offer.
Right.
And here is a myth. It's a myth buster right here.
What is it?
Sellers are like, oh, it doesn't matter if I price a high, buyer will still make an offer.
No,
they will not.
They're scared. They have PTSD from COVID. Or they do, because they're like, no one's going to accept a price below the asking price.
I think it was even before COVID, but buyers don't want to insult the sellers.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's going to be insulting. They can even have an agent going, well, go ahead and just make an offer. No. They price it too high. And then they start taking everything personal. Very emotional.
Yeah, that's when the emotions get in.
Residential, very emotional. But like, you know, you think about anything, a car, or, you know, I don't know, a piece of clothing, anything you buy, if you walk up to that item and you're like, that is nowhere near what it's worth. Like,
right.
I know what it's worth. I'm not paying that. You're not going to pay it. Nor are you going to go to the seller, whoever's selling, and be like, hey, I know you want this amount, but what about this amount? It's just not. It's human nature. You're just not going to do it.
So
you have to price it right. And you have to price it reasonably, obviously. Sweet spot. Got to hit that sweet spot where people are coming to the house, looking at it online, because that's the first place you see it, saying, hey, you know what? That's a good price. Like, that seems reasonable. Yeah. I'm going to go look at that house.
Yeah, you want to be like, oh, that house and that price, like, or that house is in my price range. Mm-hmm. That's what you want people to think. Like, oh, I can afford that. Yes, let's go and I want to go see that.
If the cover matches the book, like the book, if the price matches what you're seeing, like, yeah. Now, once you get into the house, that's a different story.
Then it's got to deliver and all that stuff.
But that's where you are with pricing it. Like, you know, you got to price it right to where they walk in condition wise.
Yep.
Because, you know, the two telltale signs that your house is overpriced is, one, you don't get any showings.
Yeah.
That's the people going online going, that's crazy. I'm not even going to go look at that. It's way overpriced. The second is, ooh, that's a good price. We get the reaction we want. Yeah. But then they walk inside and they're like, oh my God, this is so dated and the carpet is dirty and the condition is bad.
And
they don't make an offer. So if you get lots of showings and no offers, that's the second sign that your house is overpriced. So if you don't believe your agent and you just don't know how many people are like, I know what you're saying, I understand it, but it's just mentally, I've got to ask for this. The most important time when you put your house in the market is the first week.
Yeah.
What can I do to change this?
Lower the price.
Because it's either condition the property, you've got to really totally change the condition to match the price, or you price it the way it should be. And some things it's not even worth. Like if you have a house that needs updating everywhere, kitchens, baths,
a full renovation.
You're not going to come in, like you should have done that 10 years ago. Right. Like, don't worry about it now.
Like just stress of doing the timing, that it's not worth it. You're not going to be able to enjoy it.
It's no. Just deal with that in price. Lower the price. Now, if you have a house that just needs new countertops and a paint job, and you're going to get $10,000 more because you do those things,
that makes sense.
That's a different story. So again, that's where your agent can help you weigh out what's worth doing, what's not worth doing. And if you don't do this, this is the price it's going to be. If you do it, this is the price it's going to be. But yeah, someone doing a full-on reno, no.
It's just not worth it.
It is what it is. You love the house. You loved it the way it is. It's not going to maybe appeal to a ton of buyers. So we address this in price.
Yeah.
And that's that, you know? And just, it's a business deal. And I wish residential, look, I'd be the worst. I'd probably be the worst seller with the whole emotional thing.
It is emotional. I mean, I've done it a little more recently than you. Yes. It is super emotional.
I know. And I'm sitting here, you know, do what I say, not what I do.
We are here for, because yes, we love your house and we might think that it's beautiful and we appreciate that mural that your grandma painted on the baby's ceiling. But like, I'm going to tell you to paint over it because I'm a professional. And
take a picture, put it in a photo book, move along. I know. And it is, we're neutral. We're a neutral party, which is great in negotiations too, because it gets emotional. Everything gets emotional. We're a neutral party. That's part of our job and what we do. So.
Well, we can talk about, I mean, that's something else we do when we're working on a listing, is we prepare the estimated net proceeds sheet for our sellers. If you put money, a certain dollar amount into your house, what value will it get back at selling time? So that's the type of thing that we do prepare for you, for the, dollars and cents people that like to see things in black
numbers.
and white. Okay, this is what we think your house could sell for. Here are a couple of different prices. All right, if you have a mortgage, so that we'll take that out. Commissions, taxes, if you have HOA fees, closing fees for your attorney. So all of those things, so we can get you not the exact amount you're going to get,
Yeah.
but we can get pretty close.
Yeah, we can. It gives people an idea, and that helps with, whatever their next step's going to be. If they have to buy something, if they've already bought something. And like you said, we do like 3 ranges and try and make it broad. So, you kind of know what you're getting. And I sometimes redo it when they get an offer. Like, hey, can you run the numbers on this?
Or even if you're comparing 2 offers.
So let's talk about compensations. So that is usually the biggest cost to a seller. Unless you're paying off a mortgage. That if you're paying off a mortgage, that is usually, the much higher number.
Right.
But your next biggest number is going to be the compensation.
Right.
Look, we do this for a living. This is our business. I don't know any other business person that I deal with that tries to explain away why they should be getting what they.
I have never, ever once said that I was cheap.
Oh no!
And I never will.
No. Well, you get what you pay for.
Right.
And if someone's out there, offering compensations like half of what someone else is, there's a reason.
Yeah.
And you'll end up probably not getting as much for your house. And we save you money with our knowledge. Yeah. So that's part of it. And then there's the buyer agency compensation as well, which we always say that, that's something the seller, pay, and it's negotiated with the offer. The buyer's agent, when they submit an offer, they attach their Form 220, which is the compensation form, and to say how much that they are asking for the seller to pay towards their compensation. I 100% think that sellers should pay buyer agency compensation.
I agree.
Because of so many reasons. First of all, it's always been done that way. Not a good excuse, but
the first reason
just
is the worst reason. But
there's a reason it's been done.
Yes, that way. And it's because generally the seller they're getting cash from
That's
the sale,
right.
so they have more cash money accessible.
Yes.
When you bought the house, you probably didn't have to compensate them as the buyer, so because the seller did. So it kind of all.
Yeah, it comes into it's full circle.
Yeah.
And I think with the buyer agency compensation, a buyer is bringing. If you think back to the last time you bought a house, you have to bring your down payment. You've got to pay your closing costs. You've got all these numbers that you're.
Yeah, for the inspections, for the appraisals.
Yes.
There's a lot of upfront costs.
And you've got to have a lot of cash out of pocket. You can't finance buyer agency compensation into a mortgage.
Right.
So, you can't say, well, just.
So it's even more of an unexpected, it's just a fee that they're not prepared for. That is why all the things we've covered, that is why pricing is so important. Yeah. Because once we get into the weeds, we want to make sure we start it out.
That's right.
Correctly.
That's right. Set expectations.
Yes. Those expectations are.
There's something. I love working with sellers, though.
I do too. But I like working with buyers. Well, it's all the same.
Well,
it's very different, but
it's different. It's all emotional on both sides, but buyers is like new and exciting.
Yeah.
And with sellers, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it's more of a, I'm leaving this place. I've been here for 50 years, or someone passed away, or, it's a life change.
Mm-hmm.
But life change for buyers too.
Right. But it does usually feel a little more exciting coming versus going.
Yeah. Well, you're buying something.
Yeah.
Something,
Yeah.
Purchasing something.
You're getting something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Although if you're a seller, you could be getting a big fat paycheck, baby, and let me tell you, that's pretty exciting too.
Take the money and run, baby. Yeah, I love
I
it.
think we should end it there. Take the money and run. Love where you live, and if you don't, call us, and we'll help you take the money and run.
That's right. Green's green, baby. We'll help you stack it up. But yeah, I think that covers a lot of the seller side of things, and maybe helps.
It's an exciting time, and
understand.
As always, the first thing you should do is call your agent.
That's right, and hopefully they're at Delivery Home. So I think we've wrapped that up about the sellers. That's good talk.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of good information.
It was. Very good information. Anyway, y'all remember to follow, like, and share our podcast, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.